5 News at Noon starts now.
Right now at noon, Fayetteville creates a new commission to fight food insecurity, what the board hopes to accomplish during a challenging time for food aid. Plus, a local Boys and Girls Club works to rebuild after summer flooding. 5 News reporter Emily Moss has the latest on their fundraising efforts. Thank you for joining us for your 5 News at Noon. I'm Morgan Wrigley here with Joshua Weisel. Made it to Wednesday and a beautiful day outside. Sounds like that's going to stay with us headed into the weekend, and then we're going to cool down.
Yeah. Cool down, to say the least. It's about to get, dare I say, cold out there as we head into next week. But in the meantime, it's feeling pretty good out there. Let's take a look at some of those temperatures out there as of noon. And you can see some of those temperatures ranging from the 60s to the 70s. The good news is that cool down that I'm talking about, you can see on that Poto cam, lots of wasps out. They like this last kind of surge in those warm temperatures by the time we get into the afternoon. So we've got wasps on pretty much all of our cameras. They may not be around after this next freeze, and I'll let you know when that is coming up here. Here's a look at what we got in terms of those temperatures right now as of noon. And you can see it's pretty warm out there, to say the least. Really, just the mid, even some upper 70s in the River Valley, right around the lower 70s in northwest Arkansas. So 77 there in Poto. That's why the wasps are loving that weather out there, is because it's nice and warm for them. As we head into the overnight hours, it's going to be another mild evening into the overnight once again, where it's going to be nice and cool in the morning, warm afternoon. We're going to kind of keep this pattern going for the next couple of days. If you have any sort of plans the rest of today, it's going to be nice and warm, so get out there and enjoy it. The good news is the winds today, not like they were yesterday, so we get a little bit of a break from those winds, but they return by the time we get into tomorrow. And then for the foreseeable future, at least into the weekend, it's going to be mostly nice until we get to next week. Arctic air arrives. I'll let you know when that arrives here in just minutes.
Joshua, we are learning at least 9 people were killed after a UPS cargo plane crashed in Louisville, Kentucky. The cargo plane went down Tuesday just outside Muhammad Ali International Airport, bursting into flames and skidding across an industrial area. Officials say 3 crew members were on board, and firefighters worked to contain the massive blaze, which struck multiple businesses. 2 people remain unaccounted for.
There was no specifically hazardous cargo on board of the plane that would create an environmental issue for those around the site, but the impact and where it impacted could create those types of situations.
UPS says it's working with authorities and has paused operations at its Worldport hub. The NTSB will lead the investigation into the crash. The Boys and Girls Club of Sequoyah County is getting closer to its funding goal after this summer's floods destroyed its building. Floodwaters exposed asbestos in the Boys and Girls Club main building, and they were forced to move into one facility. Well, now plans are finalized for a new building. The 15,000 square foot facility is in partnership with Sallisaw Schools, and it will feature multiple classrooms and an indoor gym. The group is fundraising for the $3 million facility with $675,000 left to go for the first phase. The CEO says with over 50 kids a day, these services are essential to the community.
The parents and people in this town depend on us a lot to help them with their after-school care and their summer care. And we're not babysitters. I mean, we actually run programs and help the kids with their homework and with life skills and things like that. So the parents really rely on us to help them.
She says their primary source of federal funding comes from COVID relief, which will expire by the end of June. So they need to have the building 90% completed in order to use those funds. A handful of key election day races brought big wins for the Democratic Party in California, Virginia, and New Jersey. In New York, a closely watched mayoral race stunned the political establishment with a sharp move to the left. Bradley Blackburn reports.
New York's race for mayor drew the largest turnout in more than 50 years and signals a generational change at City Hall.
This was a campaign ran on hope, and I think all of us felt it tonight.
34-year-old Zoran Mamdani beat career politician Andrew Cuomo with an ambitious promise to make New York City more affordable. The self-described Democratic Socialist will be the city's first Muslim mayor.
In this moment of political darkness, New York will be the light.
Mamdani's win could fuel the ideological debate within the Democratic Party, which is celebrating some key victories in the first election day since President Trump's return to the White House.
Thank you very much.
California voted yes to Proposition 50. The measure redraws the state's congressional map to flip as many as 5 U.S. House seats from red to blue. The move counters Texas redistricting and could raise Governor Gavin Newsom's national profile.
We stood tall and we stood firm in response to Donald Trump's recklessness.
Democrats also won in New Jersey, where Congresswoman and Navy veteran Mikey Sherrill beat a Republican closely aligned with President Trump.
It's going to take a strong governor here in New Jersey to claw back resources and keep our streets safe.
And in Virginia, Democrat Abigail Spanberger will become the state's first female governor. At a White House breakfast, President Trump said the election was not good for Republicans and that the government shutdown was a big negative for the party. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Well, the Fayetteville City Council is taking new steps to fight food insecurity, creating a food commission to focus on healthy access and local agriculture. The new advisory board will include 8 members, from city leaders and farmers to residents who have personally faced food insecurity. The goal is to find local solutions to food deserts, expand community gardens, and educate families about nutrition. Council member and St. James Food Pantry Outreach Coordinator Monique Jones brought the ordinance forward, saying it's about more than just food.
It's about healthier options to food. It's about supporting our agriculture. It's about education. It's about supporting the schools. It's even about just simple things, which it may be supporting our local food pantries.
The council also unanimously passed a resolution from Councilmember DeAndre Jones, urging Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders to provide food assistance to Arkansans if SNAP benefits lapse during the government shutdown. Well, local school districts are finding ways to help students who could be dealing with food insecurity during the shutdown. Rogers Public Schools says more than 60% of its students qualify for free or reduced lunch programs. The superintendent for Eureka Springs Schools says they're doing their best to help even during the challenging times when students aren't at school.
We can feed our kids twice a day for free. We feed them a free breakfast and a free lunch, and we have different organizations that volunteer to come and pass those backpacks out to the kids. So that's helpful for the weekend as well.
Fort Smith Public Schools sent 5 News a statement that says in part, quote, "Our dedicated team of counselors and social workers diligently work to help students and families obtain the essentials they need." And Benton County is hosting a food drive today. The county is partnering with the organization Bo's Blessings to help local veterans in the Northwest Arkansas Food Bank. You can donate non-perishable items from 9 to 6 today outside the county office in Rogers. The foods needed include canned vegetables, rice, pasta, and cereal. You can also drop off donations at 3 different county offices in Bentonville through Friday. Well, in Arkansas, more and more people are being directly affected by the shutdown, leading to more and more leaders and groups trying to help. Governor Sanders joined in on the food distribution efforts at Helping Hand of Little Rock. Meanwhile, Arkansas Food Bank Director Brian Burton joined others in urging lawmakers in D.C. to end the shutdown before things get worse.
Bottom line for us is reopen the government, because when that happens, the floodgates of resources and our tax dollars are flowing. We're pleading and praying that the government will reopen soon.
With furloughs expected at county health centers and lower SNAP benefits going out, leaders at DHS will update state lawmakers on the shutdown plans tomorrow. The Arkansas Secretary of Education says he will implement new reimbursement rates for child care providers. That follows recommendations from an emergency task force meeting in late October. Jacob Oliva told lawmakers the state ed department will no longer go with the proposed flat rate plan. Instead, the new plan will keep a system of tiers, which provides funding to providers who give more quality care. Officials say the state will also hold off on changes to copays for parents. On October 1st, the department required parents above the federal poverty level to start making copays for child care. Well, a jury trial has been set for a former Van Buren police officer accused of stalking a 14-year-old girl online. Jason Seitz was arrested and fired from the Van Buren Police Department in July. State police say they took over the teen's account, and sites continue to interact, reportedly asking to touch the minor inappropriately and meet up with her behind a Van Buren gas station. Site's trial is scheduled to begin on March 3rd. Oklahoma State troopers and ICE agents made 70 immigration arrests during a 15-hour operation along Interstate 40. It was part of Operation Guardian. Troopers made contact with more than 500 people. 34 of the 70 immigration-related arrests were driving big rigs. The operation is similar to one troopers did back in September in the western part of the state. And Fort Smith City directors approved spending nearly $77 million in sewer improvement projects over the next several months. It's all part of a multi-million-dollar consent decree. Voters in May approved issuing $350 million in revenue bonds for the improvement work. This round of funding comes from an offering of bonds worth $100 million approved by the board in July. The city of Little Flock is getting one step closer to getting the city hall it has needed for decades. Tuesday, the city broke ground on its new campus that will replace the buildings damaged during last year's Memorial Day tornado. The building is projected to cost $3.5 million and will come from city savings. City employees have been working in a temporary building since the old one was demolished. Little Flock's mayor says the new upgrades will probably feel a bit like going from a starter home to a mansion.
It'll have a lot more space and dedicated space for the courts to be held, as well as for our council meetings, and so we won't have to rely on the plastic tables set out, which is going to be nice. Security will be a big thing. Our employees will be safe behind a secured area.
The city's police department will also get more space for meeting rooms and an evidence locker. The mayor says construction for the full campus will likely take a year and will start in about a week or two. Parents in Fayetteville are speaking out over a cell tower built on school playgrounds, raising some concerns about potential radiation risks for children. We brought you this story Sunday. The district and tower company are hosting a community forum tonight at 6 at McNair Middle School to hear public feedback. Families are urging action to protect student safety. Well, the Supreme Court is hearing a major case on presidential trade powers today. Justices are considering whether a president can unilaterally impose tariffs under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. The Trump administration says it's a national security issue, while opponents argue it exceeds presidential authority. Lower courts have blocked some tariffs, and a ruling could impact billions in revenue.
Question is whether or not that language, first of all, whether or not a trade deficit counts as an emergency, an unusual and extraordinary threat.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the administration expects the court to rule in its favor, but other laws could allow new tariffs if needed.